Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
All right, so new record coming out, Winery Dogs 3, is that right? It's just 3, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's just three of us, our third record, and just putting the focus on the music this time.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty simple. I mean, even the album cover is just the paw logo and then just the 3, and obviously that is simplicity. But it's jam packed full of killer tunes.
Thank you. Have you had a chance to live with the album?
Yeah, I have actually had it, checked it out for the past month, and for myself. I mean, I did a review of the record, and for me, the standouts are Rise and Lorelei.
Ah, yeah, cool. Lorelei is a song that I remember early on when we were uh, getting mixes sent back. I played that song for a couple of friends at the house here and got a really strong reaction. It's definitely unique, and I think it's nice to have a track like that on the album that is such a departure from some of the sorts of things that the band is known for, I guess you'd say. But yeah, that's one of my favorites as well.
Oh, nice. So, what's the length of existence of that tune? How long's it been in the works?
Well, they all have pretty much the same age, for lack of
Hmm.
a better way to describe it. Our process for writing is pretty simple. We get together in a room and we all just kind of throw ideas around and we record everything. So it's everything we're doing in that room once we walk in is being recorded. And for by way of example, Billy might come up with a bass line, which actually that happened with Lorelei, the intro, da 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 da, that whole section and that the bending note that comes out of it. He just was just playing that, and that led me into those chord changes, and that's how it just kind of turned into the song. But the process is that sort of thing where we kind of build these skeletons and record just the music, and we actually arrange it, even though I don't have the lyrics finalized, and sometimes the melodies are in development because I'm usually just scatting something along. But once we record those arrangements, I kind of live with that for however long it takes for me to come up with a storyline and a lyric, and then ultimately cut the vocal and play it for the guys and hope that they respond favorably.
Yeah, right.
And that's really how it is, as opposed to the other way of writing where you're just sitting there with your guitar and ideas come to you and you just kind of write the song, which is much easier to do when you're alone. But I think our process is really what defines the sound of the band. The fact that we all are throwing in our ideas musically, instrumentally, and then that's kind of set in stone. And then I end up writing to that, which really kind of defines the sound of the band.
Hmm. Going into something like this, I mean, how does that work for somebody that like yourself, that's a multi instrumentalist? That you go into a band situation. Is that hard for you to shift gears, or has it come pretty natural?
No, it's nice. I mean, the whole thing of me playing, drums on my record or, bass, it's just a matter of convenience because, I'm the only guy in the studio. So if I want to get it done, I got to kind of, take a shot at it. And, typically if I go to do something and I'm not pulling it off, then I'll call someone in to help me. But with this situation, it's really wonderful just to have, people, that have such personality on their instruments to work with. And it, like I said earlier, that really defines the sound of the band is the fact that Billy and Mike are so unique in the way they
Hmm.
play and accomplished. And it creates an environment for me where I can really lay back and focus on songwriting and singing, and it's just a perfect marriage.
I know all the members are active in the songwriting and stuff. When it comes to lyrics, I mean, how open are you for feedback? Like if, one of the guys goes, "Hey, maybe we ought to switch this to this," or some other suggestions. How does that go over in this particular band?
Yeah, that's a great question. To the degree where if I feel like I'm stuck on something, then all input is welcome. On the other side of the coin, when you write something and you have a clear vision of what you want to say and how you want to say it, then you're less inclined to being, to having that conversation. But by way of example, I remember there's a song on the album called Breakthrough, and I had the melody structured in my head, and I just had a catchphrase, and I was saying, in the beginning, I said, "I'm falling and breaking," and then from there, I figured, okay, I can go on and lay out the storyline, and I kept singing that, and then Mike heard me singing it, and he just mentioned casually, because I hear you saying I'm having a breakthrough. And so I thought of that, and about a month went by, and I came back to the song, and I started trying to formulate a story, and I had the verse coming together, and then it came to the chorus, and I thought, well, let me try this, and I moved my bit of "I'm falling and breaking." I moved it further into the chorus, and I opened it, with his idea, and I said, "I'm having a breakthrough." And then I'm okay. Well, this is actually a much better setup for me to continue my dialogue. So, in that instance, that was a good one.
Nice.
But the reality is they pretty much leave me to my own devices. And if I find myself, in that I've written myself into a corner, then I may say, "Hey guys, lend a hand." But
Right.
on this album, I really it was a really easy thing for me. For whatever reason, the lyrics came quite natural, and I didn't find myself in any sort of trouble.
Okay. I'm wondering also, have there been times where you've stepped in and maybe picked up the bass or sat behind the kit and showed the guys, this is what I'm envisioning, and maybe showed them in that manner or fashion?
God, I don't know that I've ever literally done that to either one of them. I don't think so. I mean, I've done that in my life when I
Right.
was trying to show somebody what I wanted them to play. And the only reason in those instances that I was doing that was because ultimately I didn't have the skills to deliver the highest point of the song, but just to get it going. I mean, I've definitely done that as it related to my live band, because maybe there was a section that I wanted it to feel a certain way, and I would kind of get behind the kit and demonstrate, with Billy and I, because we both write riffs, there's often times where if I have a riff, Billy might say, "Hey, can you record yourself playing that?" And then vice versa, "Hey, Billy, can you, like when he came up with the riff to Oblivion on the previous record,
Right.
it was initially when I first heard it, I was like, all right, that's a bit confusing. What is that? And then, he showed me how, what he was doing, and then I was able to pick it up. But I don't actually, I've never picked up Billy's bass and said, "No, play it like this." That's never
Okay.
happened. And
All
I'm sure
right.
it never will.
I was just curious because
Yeah.
oftentimes there's people when they have a vision, sometimes they can't communicate it, and they'll go, "Let me just show you."
No, because it's interesting with this group. Yeah, I never want to in this band at least, I never want to tell them how to play. I want them to take the idea, and either they connect with it or they don't. And if they connect with it, they're going to play it in a way that's theirs, and they're going to own it, and that's going to define the sound of the band. So, even if I had something really specific that I wanted done, I wouldn't even bother. I would just keep that for my own devices, and it wouldn't be a Winery Dog song. Rather than, I really hate the idea of telling people how to play. That doesn't appeal to me.
Okay. That's cool. You guys have been around for, geez, it's hard to believe. 11 years. You've had, you're on your third studio album. You've had EPs, live recordings, and stuff like that. Box set, even the Doggy Treats. I love that one. What, the fans are pretty rabid. I think anything you guys throw out there, they're gonna buy. So is it pretty gratifying just the fact that you guys can put anything out there, and you're always gonna have a fan base that's gonna eat that up?
But I don't quite see it that way so much. I mean, I think we have set a certain expectation with the release of our first record, and we have a certain thing that we have to live up to. So it's important. So it's not a situation where we're just throwing stuff together. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
if we started doing that, we would really risk, we would have a problem. I have to say, is there any chance to pause this for a split second? I've got a pickup coming through the gear.
Sure.
Can you hold on?
Sure.
Hold on a second.
Yep, no problem. Yeah, Mira, we got it.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I think you were saying that obviously it's not thrown together, and that's not exactly how I meant, but I think you got the gist of the question. I mean, you guys definitely have a loyal base there. Is it gratifying when you guys pick up some new fans along the way? Because, like you said, it's a lot of sometimes it's a lot of the gearhead types that pick up the Winery Dogs albums because of the notoriety and skillsmanship that you guys possess.
Sure, and there's curiosity, there's all those things, and yes, the idea is to grow the base. I mean, I think for any artist, if you're putting your music out, if you didn't care about any of that stuff, you just record it and file it away somewhere and listen to it every once in a while on your own. But to the degree where you're presenting it publicly, then the idea, I guess, is to grow your base and to appeal to folks.
Right.
So we certainly want to generate interest and grow our base for sure.
And you're definitely going to be doing that. I mean, I looked at the dates for this pretty extensive tour that you guys are doing. I mean, tell me about that. I mean, was it initially the vision to be this lengthy of a tour, or did it just kind of start building momentum, and what we have is what we get?
The idea was to get out there, play as many places as we can. We're starting on the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
That's our first leg. And then we're coming in to go to we come off of that leg, and then we go down to Brazil for a festival, and we've got some other things being put together in South America, and then of course we're going to come to the West Coast and do that, and so the idea is to keep it going, and go to Europe and here and there. So again, I got to stop this interview. I'm so sorry. They scheduled me
no problem.
with this pickup. I hope you can edit that. You can edit that.
Yeah. Yep, okay. I got it.
I'm sorry. I can help you now. I'm on a call. Okay, no problem. So all this stuff goes on the truck?
This and all this?
Yeah, all the way, all the green. I'll stand here and make sure. I just have to finish this radio interview. Yeah, let me take you. Go to the front door. I'll get you to it. Okay, here we go. I'm back.
Oh, okay, no problem. So yeah, you guys are building it by doing this extensive tour. What's the length of promotion on this? I mean, once you guys go, you go do some South American stuff, and then you come back to West Coast, and then what?
Then we'll see where we're at. I mean, ultimately, you want to keep going. I mean, we love going to Japan and Southeast Asia. Hopefully, we'll come together at that point. And then, you know, in a perfect world, we take a little break and we go right back in and do another record.
Mm. I mean, I know you took a little bit of time to get this one put together just because of the various different things that you guys are all a part of. I mean, is there any kind of timetable on that, do you think?
Yeah, you know, the idea would have been to have done something sooner if it wasn't for the whole pandemic situation. Obviously,
Hmm.
that really threw everybody for a loop. You know, we had done a tour in 2019 in the
Yeah.
United States, and
Hmm.
on that tour, we discussed, you know, making the third album, and then, you know, everything just went haywire. But
Yeah.
I think this time around, it'll be much easier. You know, this is the kind of band that can't make an album remotely. We have to be together, you know, because we're, you know, operating in real time, and so much of what we do is based on improvising together and capturing that. So, but you know, definitely the idea is to get back at it, you know, as soon as we can.
Right. I don't know if you mind. Can we touch on some other stuff, some of your other work?
Yeah, yeah, I've got
Okay.
time.
So you did the 50 for 50. I mean, what a massive collection of tunes there. I mean, is that something that you would envision doing again for some other special event?
No, because I'm only going to turn 51.
Well, I'm just
That was,
thinking maybe for 75, you do 75 for
oh my God.
75.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully I'm retired by then. You know, I think that came in a very unique way. It was a perfect storm
Hmm.
because I was looking at all this music that I had worked on and didn't release, didn't finish. And so I went through and I found about 13 or 14 things that were finished. And then I saw a bunch of stuff that was incomplete. And I started to get that stuff going. And then in the process, I started writing all new stuff. And that's where it really kind of came together and started flowing. But I didn't really announce that I was going to do a 50-song album until I
Right.
knew I was going to hit my mark. So
That was amazing. I mean, that's a
yeah,
lot of tunes.
yeah. I mean, and you know, you have to realize it was like, you know, some of that stuff had been recorded in like early 2000 and never released, and
Hmm.
some stuff was brand new. So it's definitely definitely a process, that was for sure. But no, I
Right.
would not want to do that again.
You know, one of my favorite records that you put out recently as a solo artist has been the Cannibals record. And,
Oh yeah.
I still spin that one. I love Come On Free and Stand Tall. Those are my favorite tunes on that one.
Oh
Um,
cool.
that one is a pretty eclectic record all around. I mean, you have a little bit of everything. I mean, Come On Free could be like you know, a radio hit.
Yeah, and you know it's kind of has a bit of a 70s Motown feel, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If I'm thinking of the
Yeah.
same song.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, that was a fun record. You know, that's the beauty of doing these records on your own, because you don't have to answer to a record label,
Hmm.
and you just kind of have a different kind of freedom when you're on your own. I mean, a record label would never allow me to make a 50-song album. They
Hmm.
wouldn't have it.
Right. Smith Kotzen. I mean, you put out the studio record and then an EP. I mean, that's something that's going to continue on, I would imagine.
Yeah, yeah, and we're actually doing a little bit of writing on our off time,
Hmm.
Adrian and I. So that's really great. And you know, I've been a fan of Iron Maiden and Adrian for so many years, so it's just really a cool thing for me to be able to do.
And that's a awesome pairing because I would have never, placed you two guys working together. So I think it works really well.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Yeah, we get on great, and it is unique. It's definitely uh, kind of two different worlds coming together. But we, again, like the Winery Dogs, we have a lot in common musically, so it just kind of works out.
Right. So I just got a couple more things and I'll cut you loose. I know you're busy doing stuff and stuff. At any point, you yourself, had you ever been approached by joining another established band? This would be probably leading up to Poison, your work with Poison, or then thereafter.
Aside from the obvious, I mean,
Yeah,
Poison, Mr. Big, and then
right.
the group that I have is Stanley
Sure.
Clark. Those three were all situations where, you know, uh, the phone rang, so to speak, and
Yeah.
I did it, but not really. Not since not in 23 years have I been asked to to join someone's. Well, I'm trying to think. Mr. Big
Yeah.
was 2000 was when we played our first
Right.
show, I guess. So no, that was the last time that ever happened.
Yeah, I would think that somebody like David Lee Roth would have had you on his radar or something, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's guys out there that really excel at stepping into somebody else's band and being a sideman.
Hmm.
And I don't necessarily think that I am of that cut from that stone,
Mm,
because the only times I've ever done that, which would be the three we mentioned, I
right.
was coming in as a primary writer. And so, on the Poison record, we wrote together, we wrote
Right.
songs together, and I wasn't just in there, playing somebody else's music. I mean, obviously, once we got on tour, of course, but,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know, as far as it related to being in the band and making an album, same thing with Mr. Big. And so I've never actually done that. I've never, joined up with someone and just, said, hey, learn the show. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Sure.
and,
Sure.
I don't know that I would really be, interested. I think,
Right.
I've had a record deal since I was 18, recording and writing my own songs.
Right.
I don't know how well I would fare in a situation where I had to take orders from somebody.
That's probably true, right? Last one, Richie, and then I'll cut you loose. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it and hope to talk to you again. What's a factoid about Richie Kotzen that we would not know unless you disclosed?
Oh, well, gee, I mean, I don't really know how to answer that. I love I love architecture
Okay.
and old buildings and old houses. And if I had the kind of cash that you would need to do something like that, I love the idea of buying some of these old properties and kind of restoring them to their original condition.
Right.
It's something
Right.
that I fancy. But to do that, you would need an obscene amount of capital, which I don't know how to
Right.
get my hands on at the moment.
Right. Hey, man. Hey, thank you for your time. Best with the record. Love it. Can't wait to see you guys live. And, we hope to talk to you again.
Awesome. Thank you.
Take care, man.
All right, bye.
Yep. Bye.